Hello everybody and welcome to this project presentation complete workflow tutorial in which I'm going to show you how we can create this presentation for this fictitious kitchen project. This tutorial is focused as an introduction into how to use the new Affinity Studio app, which is free for Mac and PC. We will also use Shaper 3D to create all the technical drawings. We will create the AI rendering with VizcomAI. And then I will show a general process about how to approach creating such a project presentation in Affinity Studio with the goal to create not only a visually appealing, but also very informative project presentation. I will show a lot of tips and tricks, also how to think about just working in one application when doing vector, pixel, and layouting, how we can do digital drafting and dimensions inside an illustration program, add all these necessary elements to make these drawings really easy to understand. And with all that said, let's try it. But before we get started, please hit the like, subscribe, and notification button so you will never miss any upcoming video. And now let's really get started. Before we get started, please go to the description of this video and download all the test files which I'm giving for you to follow this assignment. You can see here I have the project folder open. Inside you find the CAD model of the kitchen, which is done in Shaper 3D. We will have here a text file with all the text we need. And there is a folder with various images. For example, a photo of the bar stool, the faucet, chandelier, and cooktop, but also 3 different images of an elevation view of this kitchen space, with which I will show you how we can leverage these 2 different styles of presentation to create the AI rendering we really desire in VizcomAI. Let's start with creating the rendering for VizcomAI. Lean back for a moment because I would like to show you how I try to troubleshoot the problems I had and how I developed a solution to get exactly this beautiful interior rendering I was envisioning. So here are the 3 screenshots I provided of that space. You can see this has no edges, this has edges, and here we have a mix with materials. I was actually just very curious to see if I give this exactly the same prompt, what then the outcome of the AI would be. In addition, I also created a screenshot of a model I exported to Blender, so I just have a grayscale model just with these edge lines. Okay, so let's take a look at the top line. This is the AI with the prompt and no object edges. Looks actually pretty good, but if we pay attention to the cabinets, then you can see the problem that yes, they are doors, but they're not the doors I actually envision. And this really makes sense because there's no information about the doors here in the screenshot. I created a screenshot in the screenshot tool inside Viscom by having the edges turned off. Now, one could think, okay, easy peasy. Let's simply turn the edges on. We see where all the doors are. And then let's take a look. And yeah, that looks actually pretty good. All the doors are there. However, unfortunately now our bar stool looks a little bit interesting. So that's actually a limitation of AI or the file size primarily. Because if we zoom in here, we can see we have a lot of information. All these edges are lines, and that is simply tripping up the AI a little bit. So in next step solution would be, couldn't we really combine these 2 images actually? And this is then what I started doing here. You see, There is the screenshot without the edges. Here's the screenshot with the edges. And then when we take a look at that, there it is. Exactly what I wanted to have. I have all the lines for the cabinet doors, and my bar stools look exactly rendered the way how I envisioned them. Pretty good. One thing then actually I started to realize is these toe kicks and also the sides are also in the wood material. But in my screenshot, you see they should be white. I also didn't necessarily specify this in the prompt. I did try to prompt these sides to be white, and the AI didn't really understand it. I didn't try toe kick to do it that way, but then I felt like this might be an area where a simple manual modification would be easier than just trying this with a prompt and re-rendering and re-rendering. So what I need is white surfaces. Okay, so I took that rendering and simply told the modify command, make please white renderings. And there it is. There's everything what I need in white. Then these two images are used together and simply removed everything of the white image besides the toe kick and the sides. And you see, this looks very believable. To make this a tick better, then I also use the enhance function that fixes sometimes quite a lot of problems. If I go to here, you can see this looks quite nice. This is the original photoshopping. You see, that is not so good. So it even fixes some of the inaccuracies. And now if you want, then you can also add more light to it. I made the sunshine into the side, and there it is. Okay, so in the next step, then we are going to take these two images. I will show you in Affinity how we can crop this, how to make the mask, and then how we bring this into VizcomAI to do the rendering. So let's get started with these two images we have here with the outline, without the outline. And I can select this image, drag this into Affinity on a Mac. I'm not sure if this works on a PC, but on a PC, you can also go into Affinity, go open, and then navigate to where you have the image. There it is, and click open. There we are. Beautiful. And then we need to bring in the other image too. So here is image 2. Perfect. And I just click and that placed it. And then with the selection tool, I can move this around. We can go to snapping and, for example, turn page layout with objects. And then when I move this around, you see it snaps to the document. Really good. This document is really wide. Now you see here we have a lot of empty space left and right. We can easily change this by going to document. Also specify this should be a 300 dpi image. And then I think 1700 pixels for the width will be good. Click OK. And now you see this is more cropped. It's not that the image is cropped, it's just simply the document was made a little bit less wide. Very good. Okay. We have here our image that got inserted, and here we have the image we opened. You see the icon is a little bit different because, I would like to stress this, we set this to 300 dpi. I can now go to this layer because I want to be able to edit it, and then go to pixels, rasterize, and say rasterize. And you see now the icon changed. Very good. Okay. Perfect. So We want to keep the chairs, but not really the rest. We could simply copy this out, but this is destructive. What I would like to do is simply mask everything else. I could also move this one on top and then simply mask out the chairs so I see the chairs below. The way how this works is with the layer selected, you just go to masking. And by the way, this is also the same in Photoshop, in any image editing program. We have now the layer with the image and the mask that's masking it. Currently, we don't see anything happening, so we can zoom in, go to pixel, because now we're switching into Photoshop mode. Then here's the brush tool. We see how big the brush is. Okay, we actually can make this a little bit bigger there. And then the color is black. And then when I start painting over it, you see how all the stuff goes away. If I turn this one here off, now there you can see how I'm making this area transparent. And that's the whole trick. Very good. I can show this one. To bring, for example, these ground lines back in, if we want to, we could switch the color. I will change this to a smaller value, and then I just go to there, paint this a little bit closer if I want to. This is actually not necessary because the program pretty much understands what's going on. I forgot to say also, zooming in, mouse wheel is up and down, and then holding Option key is, and with the mouse wheel or Alt key is zoom in and zoom out, and pressing spacebar, then we can pan around. You can also use here in the navigator, this too. Okay, very good. So this image is actually done. That's perfect. And now we can go to export. We want to use PNG, doesn't lose any quality. That's very good. And simply click export. And then I will go to the kitchen project images. I will store everything nicely there. And then I will say pre-AI rendering. Very good. Then let's go to Viscom. Here I'm back in Viscom. I will go ahead and add the image. I will upload it. There we are. Very good. I will move this down to there. I can zoom in to the prompt so you can make a copy of this. You see, very simple, make a realistic photo. Then I'm specifying all the materials and objects. I would like to see a garden outside. And also I specify the time. So I made a copy of this, went to there, add the modify command, drag this in, copy in the prompt, and hit render. Maybe do 4 just to see different results we get. And there we are. That's cool, but nope. That is interesting. This one is brighter. This one has an issue with the veneer. Here the veneer is good. This is also good. This one goes. Now you can just then figure out which one you would like to do. I also only said now walnut wood veneer. I did not bring in a specific material. You see here we have a number 1. We could drag in another veneer material, for example, if we want. But to me, I will prefer this image. So that one I delete, and we will go with this one. Like in all my previous results, I have an issue with the toe kick and the sides. But as I showed, we can simply convert this into a white cabinet. I think this was change the cabinets to be white. And the reason why I also don't try to prompt the toe kick and then do the sides manually, by doing that this way, I can make sure toe kick and the sides also use the same material. There we are. Pretty cool. It's actually a pretty nice rendering too. This black and white contrast is really, really good. Okay, so these two images I now need to combine. We can try to do this in Viscom, load them in, and then paint over it. I will do this in Affinity because then I can show you a little bit more how the Photoshop component of Affinity works. So this one we download, and that one we download. And then let's go to Affinity. So in Affinity, I'm going to open now the two images which I downloaded. There is that, and there, very good. So this one I open, and the other one I quickly place and click, drag this over. Again, good practice. 300, 150 can work too. And then I could rasterize this, or I drag this one over it. No, don't rasterize it. I could actually save that step. I simply add a mask for the layer, and then I go to here, switch to pixels. Fortunately, this is a really easy selection. It's just a rectangle, and I press enter. And that actually creates a black area on this white mask. So there. And here I will go to add to the selection. AI actually added a little bit of a baseboard. Very good. This line is a tick too dark, so it's just a pixel line. I removed this. Very good. So, and then we can see how we kind of like can do this. We could go to the eraser brush. You see how this erases it. Sorry, shouldn't say eraser brush, just a paintbrush. And oh, I can click and drag this one down, go to here. You see how this then paints a little bit over. So you might want to also here, if we select certain selections, let's say like this, and actually I will do it this way. From up there, move the mouse further down to there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Then I go minus and say this please, and this please goes out. This, yeah, too. I could use this command and then simply very carefully by hand with the mouse. Oh, have the minus command. Remove this from the selection, and then the same here. Go back to the start. Perfect. Yeah. And then here's the brush, and we can brush over. Maybe make this a little bit bigger. Very good. Perfect. Then we will go back to the selection tool. We will make a new selection. And here again, we can start by making a big one. This time I go up, maybe to there. Add to the selection there. And remove from that selection. This is a tick too wide. So I will go 1 pixel over to the left side. And then same process. Oh, here's actually the polyline. There, 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 there. Now if you want to go straight lines. And there to there, there, there. And there to there. Very good. We're in the mask. Painting. Brush over. And select, deselect. There. Okay, and we can zoom out. This looks pretty good. We can see this is a little bit dirty, and here definitely something was photoshopped. This edge is kind of terrible. But again, this is something we are going to fix later in Affinity. And ooh, what happened up there? I did change that angle. Because this is a mask, I can always paint over it. There. Good. That's perfect. So this image we will export as PNG, and then we will see each other in Viscom again. Now here in Viscom, I can go to this end. I will go to upload an image. Here's my AI rendering composite. There we are. If I now double click this image, I can then go to adjust and click enhance. And that is a function that essentially makes this image look a little bit better, adds contrast, sharpens it, fixes also some of my bad photoshopping errors. And when that is done, then if we want to, we can also create an upscaled version to have a really nice and large image. So there it's done. That was pretty fast. If I zoom in and then turn this on and off, oh, take a look at that marble. How much detail you get there. Pretty cool. Also nicely, it added a rendering for the LED strip. That's pretty good. It did not fix that thing there. So maybe I was a little bit too optimistic. I will paint a little bit over and make a new layer. In my case, there, there, okay. Because the rest is actually quite good. Or I could also do the same here after I did that enhancement and paint a little bit in. If you zoom in, you see it, but later this image will be this big. You might not see it. Good. To do an upscale, this is basically the function for it. 2 times or 4 times. This is totally fine because this image is not going to be super big on the page. When you click on this, this will take a moment for the software to process, then it will download it, and then you can put this into the project folder. Since we are in the process of creating all these images, let's continue with the material swatches, and then we will create the screenshots and prep them. So these material swatches are screenshots from the AI rendering. That's all. So all we can do is on a Mac or PC, we go to where we have that rendering stored. I will on a Mac open this in preview. On a PC, you use the other program, and then with the zoom function, you can try to zoom in as much as you can. There's also zoom to fit, actual size. I think this is now actual size. Perfect. So I can then look around where is a good position to do a screenshot. Here's, for example, the polished concrete floor, a nice rectangle. Very good. The marble is great. I don't necessarily want too much of the light. So I sample here 2 examples from there. Here is the wood. I think this will look good. We can also try a darker one. The black, yeah, it's just a small area. We only can screenshot. And then also here something from the wall. Very good. Perfect. And then all these images you want to bring into your folder and then have them sorted. So here is, now you can see the floor, the wood, wood 2, marble, marble 2. That already as a screenshot doesn't look as good. This one looks better. Here's the metal, and here is the wall material. Let's go to Shaper 3D so we can create the textured elevation and textured perspective view. I will turn off the room model. Then I will go into the Viso mode, go into kind of like this perspective view, go to environment. Transparent mode is what's turned on. And I would like to show you how here with the elevation, we can make the sun basically look straight down or be horizontal. And then with the light rotation, we rotate the drop shadow. That's actually pretty cool. So if we go to a right view in this case, which is then the elevation view, I will hide the items menu there, zoom in nicely, and then I will play with this value and this value, yeah, to get a really nice drop shadow. This is something when I learned how to colorize interior elevation views with watercolor, etc. The shadows we then use the foil and rub on like a shaded pattern on it. Here we just render it. This is pretty good. It has one kind of like mistake, or it's not a mistake, but the shadow of the chandelier is irritating, and here also the shadow of the kitchen cabinet is a little bit irritating. We can fix those. To create a really nice and good screenshot, we try to center this and just capture. And then you just go to your folder and we can say elevation view textured and save. Very good. Cool. Then we also need something for the cover. Now, do we want to show this from the side? Isometric, sorry, not isometric, orthographic, kind of like from 3/4. Do we go isometric this way? And we have to imagine how this later could look on a page. The best method in general, I would tell people, is just create multiple screenshots and just then play around. For example, the way how I approached this was make a really dramatic screenshot like this. So let's say cover 1 and maybe let's say a screenshot this way, cover 2, and maybe a screenshot from up here. So I also see the top, and cover 3 there, and save this all inside Affinity. Okay, with all that said, let's go back to Affinity. So this elevation view textured, I will open in Affinity. There we are. Very good. So it's a pixel layer. I can then zoom in, and this is what I would like to remove. I will switch to the pixel mode and select selection, and with this select these two areas, and then I can use what's called the in-painting brush. I have 36 pixels, then I paint over what I would like to change, click somewhere else, and it's gone. Isn't that awesome? Let's try the same down here. So I will create this selection, use the in-painting brush, mark everything to fix weight. And yeah, not so good. You can see there's a little bit of a haze. That's unfortunate. So what about we make this a little bit smaller and then paint this area? Yeah, no, that is a little bit better. We could nearly even get away with this, but we want to perfect this. So I will select this area, and then let's take a look at the clone brush tool. This is how big this one is. Okay, I could go ahead and hold the Option or Alt key. You see then it's like a marker, you click, and then you essentially can clone it. And you see how I'm cloning what is on top down. And maybe I shouldn't have had this only on 80. Maybe that should have been on 50. So let's do a little undos. There we are. One more time. Maybe clone this. There. And there. Much better. Very good. There. Easy fix. Okay. So the healing brush, or not the healing brush, the inpainting brush basically uh, predicts what you want to have in there. Very often works very good. You saw here with these white edges that didn't work very good. And then with the clone or the stamp tool, we can just do that. Here we have the issue that I want this to go over there. And that's a very easy old school copy and paste command. So I select this, copy and paste. Then I go to the selection tool. I can move this, hold shift, and then I drag this over till there. Deselect everything. And there we are. Let's see if I turn this on and off. Pasted it over. Later, if we zoom out, you will not see that. These two layers we can merge together, merge visible, or selected. No, it's one layer. You see also the document is bigger than the image. If we go to transform, this is how wide this image is. I will copy this by 918 and I will just change this. Okay, very good. Snap this. I had this layout with objects, so now this image is perfectly centered. And now I can go ahead and say export. Export as PNG, and we can call this in our piece elevation view textured, maybe final. The other one maybe I should have called raw. Okay, beautiful. That's it. I think at this point it is time now to go into Affinity Studio, bring in all these images we have and create the first draft of our layout. Students in general who are not experienced with layouting are a little bit imitated, and very often they tend or ask for if they can use a template. And my answer to that always is, or two answers. First, if you use a template, your work will look like template work. And secondly, you are preventing yourself from learning to develop a sensibility for how easy layouting actually is. For a good layout, for a good presentation, all you need is good images, text, and then an order how everything is aligned, like along the grid. And that's it. So with all that said, let's go to Affinity. We will make a new document. Letter format, 11 by 8.5, landscape, 300 dpi, perfect. Then Photoshop, Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign in one app. Let's add 2 more pages. Now we have 3. Double click on the first page, and I would like to bring in my first image. So I will go to the project folder, images, and here is this elevation, this perspective view, that one from the bottom. I will go with this one. Click open, click, then Option Alt mouse wheel, zoom out, and I will make this a little bit bigger and bring this over. Cool. Maybe even a little bit more there. Okay, so that's kind of like version 1. Let's bring in another image. Maybe this one. And we can click, scale this up, bring this over there and there. And then we can simply turn off the individual layers and then take a look at which one we like. Now, that's the reason why I said make multiple screenshots and then on the layout, try and see which one works. I do think this is a better perspective than this one. So that one I will delete, and I will scale this up a little bit there, bring this over. And I don't really like how this up here looks. So I will scale this even a little bit more. There we are. Yeah, make this a little bit more mysterious. I have here a crop tool, vector crop. And with that, I can bring everything to the page edge and also to the left side where nothing of the images anymore. And this is kind of like a cropping tool. Deselect it. Again, I had this one selected, so easy for selection. And now we need to add on this page a little bit of text. Here's the text frame. Click and drag. We can call this kitchen design proposal. Yeah, looks pretty boring. Maybe second line. Let's make this 24. That's the cover. We can make this then 18. Still looks pretty boring. What about we make this italic? We make this uppercase, make this a little bit wider. Oh, look at that. Already it starts to look like something. So I have this lamp here. If I select this, if I select this, terrible class. If I click on the ruler, I can drag down a guideline and then snap this one to there. If I go to view and turn this one off, now I can see what we have. I also would like to have a margin. So let's go to document setup. Then we go to margins. I turn this off and say 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, and 1. This is all working in inches because I have inches as the document setting there. Click OK. And if I go back and turn preview off, you see here are my margins. So now that I can bring over. Cool. Let's be a little bit more creative. Here is the rectangular tool. We can draw a rectangle, drag this under the text layer. We can make this flush with the text. We can make this flush with the page. That looks better. Can make this a little bit less big. There. Maybe turn preview off. Yeah, you see? If I select the rectangle, up here is my stroke. I do not want to have any stroke. Here's my fill. I can change the shade of the gray. Yeah, maybe like this. Perfect. Really simple. Okay, very nice. So this is kind of like the cover. Then double click, we will go to page 2. So since I'm on a Mac, I will do very quickly my drag and drop that way. So here is my elevation view. There is the finished AI rendering. Here are all my assets for materials, and here are all the assets for the furniture objects. So I just dump it all in, and then I can go to the text file, copy everything, go to Affinity, and the first thing we have to do is just scale everything down. When you select a lot of objects, you see you can scale them crazy. Hold Shift, then you can scale proportionally. Because these are objects, you can scale them up and down, up and down. It will not change the resolution. But the first thing now, our order is we need to start sorting this chaos here. So there's that. Very good. This is a box. This is a bigger frame. Here again, we can use this vector crop. So I turn vector crop on, bring this down to get close to the edge of the document. Very good. So you see now that's smaller. And then you see when I start scaling everything, these objects scale together. These two images I have here, very good, quite big, maybe a little bit too big. Select both, hold Shift, scale. We want to also see the margin again, so we know where everything is. Here are my materials. The materials are very quickly all scale to the same size. This one I don't like. This wood material feels better. That goes, and here is the black material there. Oh, look at that. They nearly fit in there. Okay, so I have cubes. I mean, technically speaking, I could work with squares, but I wanted to show you how we can turn these images into circles. Super easy. Let's go and add a circle. Click, hold Shift, and there's a circle. There. Very good. We copy and paste. Copy and paste. And copy and paste. There. Okay, so how does this work now? Check this out. So this one I will drag place inside, but then I have to bring this over, and I think this one needs to have no material. Oh wait, sorry, that was the wrong circle I selected. Undo, undo. Very good, I made this mistake. So actually first I will bring this to here. That's actually the more logical task. So that is the last one here. So you go inside. That is that. And place inside. So No crazy create compound or whatever Illustrator Jujitsu. We just do all the stuff via drag and drop. There we created our beautifully trimmed images. The images are still there. We can always drag them out or put them back in. Now this is how you create clipping masks. Then we align them up with this image. We can go and say justify to the left side and distribute vertically. Plop, nice and clean. This is what I mean now with good layouts. You want stuff to be in order. There, one more time. Okay, right click, delete guide. Very good. And this is essentially really the way how I develop everything. Here we have this image, and there I will make them with holding shift a little bit smaller. I need that text to come in. So here's my text box, paste all the stuff in. Oh, I might have to go back and copy that text, copy and paste. There we are. Then I can copy this out and paste this individually. And then here I can align this up if I want to, or maybe I can try this out first as a single text box, bring this to there. I don't know how high this will go. This actually I will definitely remove and then make a new text box somewhere else. Go back. This is now reading text. So 12 is for already blind people, which can go to 10. To make this a little bit nicer, we make that bold. We make that bold. We can make that, or just Bosch. Lash furniture. No, just playing a little bit with different text styles. That really can get you pretty far. I will also remove these lines there I have in between. Very good. There. Very good. Lighting, faucet, there and there. So I have these images now. I can try to scale them individually so they feel kind of like balanced. And again, everything I'm doing is just roughing stuff out. This goes down to here. Let's see. Same alignment. Again, you see everything neatly is gridded. Select the text and set this to 10. Because this is inside the text frame box, there's nothing red, so it tells me all the text is visible. Make this bold. Maybe turn this off for a moment. Okay, look at that. Now it's already taking space, I would say. We can create a text box here. We say black metal, wall paint. Maybe I should have thought about the order better. Concrete, floor, marble, wood, veneer. Since I don't really know what type of wood that is. All this text also here goes to 10. Very good. We can make this text box a little bit further. Yeah, okay, good. So we do have this thing here. So we could copy that one, go to here and paste it in, and let's say maybe that goes to there. On this page we will have that too, But let's say kitchen design proposal. Here we say uh, tech drawings and maybe materials. I'm just making up names right now simply to show you. You really want to also think about what you put on a page, and then the page should have a name too. By the way, let's go to master pages. Okay, very good. And then I will go to here. I will copy this. Actually, these two I will copy. Double click master page, paste this in. I will bring this over. This one I will bring to there. So I can see, this maybe needs to be a little bit bigger. This maybe goes to there. Then this text I will hide so we don't see it. And then this master page I drag onto my next two pages. And you see there's that rectangle. So master pages are good if you have different templates for left side, right side, or so. This also includes guidelines and everything. Okay, very nice. We can select all this. This is way too high. Let's bring this down. All this is too high. Select it and bring this down a little bit. I have some space up here. That is fine. Very good. We want to have some names. So artistic text is just a line. We can call this front view, elevation view, however you want to name this. I will bring that to there. And one more, I will call this 3D, 3D AI rendering. I'm calling this out that this is an AI rendering because it is an AI rendering. Is this a sketch? Make it say it's a sketch. Is this a tech drawing? It's a tech drawing. Be transparent. We can make this a little bit smaller and also italic. So this way now I did my justification to call out the different images. I can select this text here, and then I would like to play with the, kind of like the baseline offset. So 24 is close. What about, I double clicked. I need to stop doing this in this program, and let's go to tools. 1 second. Where did I put this thing to again? Context doc there. So just click into this, don't double click. So let's make this 26 and enter. Okay. You see this is pretty close. What I will do is I will try this to go to there, bring a guideline to there, and then let's say 25. Oh, was this actually 24? No, 24.5. There. Very good. The reason why I did this is now I can try to center the text this way. Instead of dealing with multiple text lines like this, we just do this with one. And also here, if we need to spread this out a little bit more, now we can do it this way, or if we can add kind of like an extra line in between, change the space between the paragraphs, for example. Okay, if we turn all this off for the moment and take a look at this, now you start noticing how this is taking shape. This colorful rectangle is a little bit too offensive. So I might play with the idea of going to there simply and calling that good. Okay, now materials now stands actually in tech drawings stands out quite nicely. Okay, before we continue trying to perfect this layout, we need to fix a little problem and bring in also our missing lines for the elevation view so we can see where the drawings are. And then we can talk about adding more description to this image. So quite amusingly, this is the wrong image. This is my screenshot without the fixes. We can simply replace images. I go replace. There is the correct image. Open. There it is. Very good. And if I kind of like go and select the image. Oh, how do I do this actually now? It's interesting. So there it is. So that clipping mask. How do we do this? Ah, okay. Very good. There. I just select the vector clipping tool and then that adjusts the clipping, and then all I have to do is just select the layer again, not the clipping tool, and then I can scale this one down again, bring this up. There we are. Easy peasy. Perfect. Very good. So for this image now, we in Shaper want to create our first technical drawing to kind of like have a nice grid overlay. So let's go to Shaper. There we are. I will go to modeling. The room is actually gone, so that's good. We go to drawings, make a new drawing, select everything, click next. Landscape, here we can select 8.5 by 11, maybe 1 to 50 or so, click done. I would like to have the right view in this case. Click plus, click done. I don't really need any title block. And this I'm going to export now as a DWG or a PDF. Here I show you it can read DWGs. I will export this to the page, or desktop, or inside here, maybe make a new folder, DWGs. And this is the elevation view, page 1. Very good. Okay. Now let's go back to Affinity. I will go to Open. Then let's navigate to where I have all that stuff. There it is. Open. Okay. Beautiful. Let's see there. All the paths I need. So this I can copy, go to my other layout, paste it in. There it is. Zoom out. Bring this over. And then one corner and other corner. Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? The lines are a little bit thick, so we could go and override the lines a little bit with this. So maybe 0.5. And they're still a little bit hard to read. So this image, this one, I will lower the transparency now. It's maybe 50, and then turn this back on. Ah, look at that. See, that's kind of cool, really. I have also all these objects floating around. I didn't really put them into folders. We can call this elevation drawing. This is actually a layer. You can create layers with down here. They call that container layer. Very good. And in this drawing, we have the LED strip. Beautiful. So let's go ahead and start adding all our arrows to document more what we have here. So I will use the artistic tool, click somewhere, and then say LED strip light and waterfall kitchen island. Very good. How big? That's 8 points. What do you have here? That's 10. So let's make this consistent. Something students overlook quite often. Beautiful. I will go and show all my guidelines because I see I do have a little bit of space here to select all this and move this to the left side. Very good. I have this text here. So you, I will align. There we are. Very good. Yeah, and how do we do our layers? Pretty simple. We go to the pen tool. The LED strip is down here. So I click somewhere, click somewhere, and then I go down. I do not want to have a fill. I would like to be, this actually should be, have an arrow at the end. So triangle. Oh, start. Nope. I said end. This one, oh, this one looks quite nice. And the line should not also be too big. It should be also a dashed line. So maybe go to dash and then say 10, 10. This is too big. What about 4, 4? This is better. The line is a little bit too big, 0.25. Now the arrowhead is really tiny, 400%. That makes the arrowhead bigger because this is in relationship to the stroke. The arrow is actually better placed there, and I can copy and paste. And I do this by clicking on this and holding, no, actually holding the Alt Option key, then click and drag and hold and shift to move this straight down. This I will bring to here, this I will bring to there, and then there, look, we align these things. So maybe better centered. Yeah, cool. Okay. You see, this adds really a lot of information, and these same arrows I would like to have also on the other side. This text I move a little bit further over. I want more space there. Here's a little trick. See, I drew this rectangle. The main reason is that's a cheapo alignment tool to make spaces equal. There. Blob. Very good. These two ends, they need to move over. I go to the node edit tool, click, shift click, and then click and simply drag over. Perfect. Cool. Then I can select one arrow again, copy, paste. We flip this over, bring this to there. And yeah, then we can start thinking about it. So That distance seems to look pretty equal. So this to there. And I will then select this, move this over. Yeah, this has to go down a little bit there. Cool. Then we have the faucet. Let's see, the faucet can go to there. And I will use this and this, move this over, extend this a little bit. This can be more centered. So I try to always have the center of the text. That works. The burner. Ugh. Yeah. This has to go over to there. Okay. Here. See, this is not really ideal what I'm doing here right now. Now you see how kind of like this goes over the faucet. But where I have this presentation right now, with the scale of these text objects, that is the way how it is. I made in this recording the text box flush with this image. Previously, the text box was down here, so I was able to put the arrow actually below there. But this is a good example to show you how sometimes you develop a system and then, well, sometimes you need to trick around. And there's our power stool. Okay. But anyway, the main idea of this demonstration is just to show you how easy it is to create really good looking presentations in no time and using images and vectors, typography, annotations. And I would say with this, our second page is done. Let's go to the third page. For that, we need to meet in Shaper again because we need to create all the technical drawings now. So here we are in Shaper 3D. I'm back inside that original drawing and we need to create more views, which we then can map onto our presentation document. And our presentation uses 8.5 by 11. Also, this is using 8.5 by 11. And the scale factor or view factor is going to be really very important because if I set this to 120, I only can get one of such a drawing on a sheet, but I need to have multiple views. So based on how many views I need, I might have to consider the scale factor. And if I'm going too small, these drawings might be difficult, for example, to read. So I found 150 works out really good. I will double click and move this here to side for the moment first. So that is the elevation view. I would like to also maybe have an isometric view. So I can go to view, base view, front, and then here isometric plus. Okay, very good. Move this to there. Yeah, that's fine. Actually, hold on. I will move this one to maybe there. I'm not making a nice construction document here. I'm using Shaper to simply create the technical drawings I need and literally nothing else. Now, I would like to have a section view, kind of like going through here. So I can use this view I have, go to views, section, then I zoom in a little bit. And here is the sync. Let's say from there to there. Do a section view so I see all this. So you see I moved this to the right side and then I can move this back to the left side. that is all pretty good. It cut through the cabinets, it did cut through the sink and everything, and the faucet, and also the bar stools plus the light were not cut. So that was actually pretty good that I was able to do this section cut there. The way how you see the section cut is fine for industrial design. For interior architecture, we will change the style manually in Affinity. Pretty easy to do. Okay, so now we need to have our elevation view. So that's a little bit more, I don't want to say complicated, but we have to work a little bit different now. I need to create a section cut horizontally through the room. And then I place an elevation view of the kitchen onto that. Since we are in this view here right now, let's do one more base view. Now I would like to have top and click plus. Okay. And double click and move this to somewhere else. Unfortunately, we can't rotate this. That would be perfect. We later in Affinity, we're going to rotate this. And now we're going to do the room. Go to view, space view, and now we click bodies first. We turn everything off. Turn the room on. Select the room. Click done. There we are. So that is a side view. Okay. Plus. Good. This one, maybe I move to here for the moment. And then we go to section view. Cut. I would like to see it cut looking at the bottom. There we are. Yes, that's the view I need. I move this up. This I move down. This goes to here. Perfect. So if I zoom in now, there you see there's the window, the architecture, and now here is the kitchen. Okay. With this done, we can also add dimensions. I would like to point one thing out, that we were going to do the dimensioning by hand. In Affinity, it's super easy. It's also based on how you want to work. I'm more a metric person, so I like single unit system, sizing meters, either centimeters or millimeters. This inch and feet is just driving me crazy, which is why out of cultural laziness, I just work only with inches. You can logically also go with feet, and then you go architectural if you want to. I, for the moment, just simply go with feet. We can put in some dimensions to simply see how big everything is. There. Also one here and one there. Then for the big vertical, this one, that one, there, and the toe kick. Cool. So that's actually all for elevation. We don't have anything here, so we're going to do this later in Affinity. I will show you how we do this. Okay, so this is actually all we need, and we just send it out as a DWG. And we will call that technical drawings raw. Very good. Okay, let's meet in Affinity. And there we are. I will open that document. There we are. Thank you. Copy everything. Go back to my presentation. By the way, we never saved this before. That is your best friend, constantly saving your work. Double click page 3, paste, and then there is everything. Or because we copied everything in, maybe we go step by step first. This file we can close now, and let's clean this up a little bit. So section goes. We can keep the hatching. I just removed the hatching. I really don't want it. That goes, that goes. There's a hatch, there's a hatch, there's a hatch, there's a hatch. You see the names there. These drawings are really, really tiny, like line weight wise. So I will select all those and say 0.5 there. So much better, actually. 0.25 there. This is now much easier to read. Look at this before. That's crazy. Okay. 0.25. I think we can actually select everything, and I really have to stop saying actually all the time. There. Yep, this also then scaled down the hatching lines, where, for example, the hatching lines I might like to have. Good. We do have here interesting rectangles, so we can clean these things up a little bit. This comes from the software because I split actually these walls. Now they are one. Very good. I can select this. I could rotate this, hold Shift and release the mouse button. Select all this, rotate there. And this I would like to group, and this I would like to group, and you do grouping with, where did I hide the group function? There, layer group. Because now I have a group that's very easy to move around. I will now maybe here go to object creation for the snapping, then bring this to here. I can select these two and say center. Very good. Zoom in, select this one, move this up. And you see, like I moved this line of my cursor onto the target, and then it finds the snapping elements, and then it snapped. Maybe you also noticed how my screen was a little bit choppy. I am working on a pretty good computer, but that was because it tried to snap everything. And Illustrator has also the same issue. When you do precise snapping, just zoom into these elements, because then the software only has to snap to what it sees and not everything here. Cool. So I can select these two groups, copy, go to my presentation, and for example, I make here a new layer if I want to, and say plan view, paste. There it is. And go back, select all this, make a group, copy. This should be isometric view. And then this group I drag onto there. You go to there. Section we can remove. No, I don't want the text there. Group and copy, paste, and that is section view. So I'm just creating for each view just a layer. You don't have to, you can just work with groups or whatever. I'm just showing you different ways how we can work with this. And then I will move this one to there so I can select all this. You notice the left and right selection similar to AutoCAD, now different stages. Copy. And then this time now I make a new layer and say elevation view and paste it in. And there we are. Beautiful. This one I delete, this one I delete, this one I will bring down. This is just helping me to know where later I have to do the section cut indicator. Here are my oh yeah, makes sense. My dimensions, I was a little bit confused for a moment why these were so long. But oh, maybe select this and group and then select all this and group. So there we have it. Beautiful. And that group for, yeah, we can keep there. Okay, very good. So we can now talk about, let's hide the most labor intensive part. That's going to be this one. We now can talk about how do we make this understandable. First thing to point out, this is not a technical drawing a contractor is going to use. This is more a visual, somebody understands the proportions. So we don't have to be super specific. I will maybe make myself a new layer, put this on top. And in this layer, I will now write in the names. So for example, elevation view, then we have plan view, we have section cut view, we have isometric view. And we could also say, because you might have more views, view 1 and section view 1. You will see in a moment why. So this will go to here, plan view will go to there, you go to there, you will go to there. We need to start aligning everything nicely. So I make myself a guideline so I can, I will move this up a little bit. So main reason now I can make a group and then easily drag this down. Also here, there, I will bring this, oh, doesn't snap to the guidelines, snap to guides. There, very good. You see now this perfectly fits over that, and this perfectly fits over that. And I think these here, which we will recreate by hand later anyway, I reposition them. Beautiful. We started to go with this idea of 8 and italic, so I will do now the same. Be consistent. This goes to there. For the moment, I simply snap the box directly under it. You know what? Let's add No, I can't. Because this is artistic text. I wanted to add actually an empty line on top. So with that, I can move this down, but we can solve that problem later easily. I want this to go to there and there. Yeah, this piece. Let's be a little bit artistic, and I'm going to make this aligned there, but then go with this triangle a little bit over. Maybe even like this. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Yeah. These for names now I select. Oh, you should be there. And then simply with the arrow key down, I nudge them down a little bit. I didn't do this here. Here they are tight. Now again, then you need to do this together. So I think I punched this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 6 times. Or a little bit more. Okay. We want now to say, yeah, this document. Do I have to say every time elevation view scale 1 to 50, this one 1 to 50? I mean, you can, or we can simply make a declaration and we say scale tab 150, then format, tab US letter, date, for example, if you want to, or I'm leaving the date out now because this, again, is not a construction document. But with this, now we kind of specified a little bit how to read this document. That is quite nice. We can maybe put this to here. We need to we could then also say where's north or something. Maybe we put this to here. I don't know yet. Or there. That is terrible. I will leave this there at the moment. And this be default. Yeah. Okay. I want to move this. I will move this up a little bit. 3 there. What about 2? Ooh, what did I do? Where did that thing go? 2 again. Oh, I double clicked again. I have to stop doing this. The program doesn't like it. 2. Okay. No, because I moved everything down here. Nah, they're a little bit fighting, but yeah, that goes. Or maybe this goes to there. Very good. Okay. Now we have elevation view and section cut. We need to create indicators for that. That is really easy to do. I also want to put this to there. Names. We could maybe call this names and symbols there. I will ungroup this, select this, and bring this down to there for the moment. Okay. This is kind of like where later I need that thing. So let's do the elevation view symbol. I will use this text box and write something and then say elevation, enter 1. I select everything, and one of the few cases I say, please use center justified. Students who have me know I really hate center justified text in presentation. We can go to 10. Okay. We need to have a circle. There's what happened? Undo. Okay. I did something I don't know. One more time. Elevation. Oh. Um, there. Yeah, white text is not very easy to read. I'm not sure how I managed to do that. I must have hit kind of like a key shortcut there. Then draw this, hold shift. Then we're going to overwrite everything. This is just a solid line, no arrows. Maybe 0.5. Very good. Can bring this to there. Then from there to there, we draw a line. Okay. Thank you. And then we will create a triangle from the center. You can hold the command key for that, or if it all fails, draw your triangle and then bring it over. You can center all objects, let's say here, you, and you. We center. Oh, I wasn't centered. And then we can scale this one up, scale this over. If you, again, hold the command key, or you have to see which one it is in on the PC, then I can scale this both sides. This will do have a black filling, but this ring will actually have a white filling. That goes on top, that goes on top, and the text goes on top. And then you. Or actually, I select these three, make a group, and it's easier to select. So this is actually our elevation view marker. Well, that thing is pretty big, so we can scale this down a little bit, maybe like this. The text needs to update. Let's go to 8. We sort of two lines. What we also could do is sorry, instead of one text, we could also say here is one artistic and here is the second artistic text, and then these two we can select, and then we can edit them manually. So there are 8. So you go to there, you go to there, and this one maybe a little bit further down. Let's there. Cool. Okay. Oh, that the one is not part of that group. So let's bring this in. So this is, for example, the indicator of where the elevation view is. How do we do the section cut? We can select this, make a copy, then double click, instead of elevation, it's section. Can make sure it's centered correctly. This one, this piece has to rotate, so I can simply rotate it, hold shift, and then see where is the midpoint. There it is. So it snapped to it. Very easy. I need to draw myself a line somewhere. And click. Somewhere I draw myself another line. And click. I'm holding shift also for horizontal and vertical. This line I make nice and big. I can go to the stroke edits and say here, please, no rounded caps. Beautiful. Then this I will put kind of like position to here. And this line can be pretty long. This can be a little bit longer. This is now for you to artistically also style how you would like those to look like. This we can turn into a dashed version, 0.25. Very good. So that whole thing I move over to where we did the section cut. Now this line I can delete. This one I bring a little bit closer to there, and then simply vertically scale this up. Cool. There. And if I want these three objects, I can also all put into a group. So then it's easy to select them and move them around. Okay, very good. Once you do this one time, you create these symbols, and then it's really copy and paste. We haven't tackled actually yet also the 1 to 50 issue completely, because we say all these drawings are in 1 to 50, but we don't have a scale bar. Let me show you something. We go to Documents, scroll down, Drawing for the scale, 1 to 50, then we say inches and OK. So let's go to here. These actually, I would like to go into that folder. Yep, very good. Then I also will select that folder so I work only in that one. I will go to the rectangle tool, hold and click, and then click and drag. No stroke, but please be a little bit gray. And then textiles transform. I would like to go to transform. And that you also have there, in case you don't see it. And look at what it tells me. This is 15.8 inches wide. We make that 10 and maybe 4. So now this box represents, like width-wise, 10 inches. Then we can make a copy. That copy we make black. Put this to there. Copy 2, put it to there. Copy the last one, paste, put it to there. And there's our scale bar. We need to add also our text. So here's our text box. So it starts with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because 5 is 50. Then now we need to stretch this apart. I will position this kind of like centered under it, make this wider, select all the text, go to character, and there. Now there you see with this we can stretch them apart. 600. I know it's actually quite a lot. We're getting close. That was a tick too much. 880. Let's say 860. Yeah, cool. And you see with this, every number is right under a line. The last thing that's missing is a scale, artistic text, and scale 1 to 50. We could specify this is inches or so. Move this to there. Select all. Actually, this one we can make smaller. Select all. Group. Perfect. We created our scale bar. And then this we can position wherever it makes sense to place it. I don't know yet. Maybe here. Not really. We will actually add all our dimensions there now. So I think it makes more sense on the right side. You see one problem sometimes if you have groups, snapping to groups and such things that sometimes can be a little bit tricky. Just zoom in, position it, zoom out, move it away. Very good. Perfect. So I, just for fun, make another layer. I call this dimensions. And now we are going to take a look into how we can create all these dimensions. We're going to do this first on the right side. When we go to vector, then we have more vector tools. There's a measurement tool. And if I measure this, it tells me 180 inches. By the way, let's go to Shaper. 180. You see, the scale transfers right over. So this is actually pretty awesome. I am going to create myself now a little bit of a grid. So for example, from here to there, to there, to there, and then also down to here, I would like to have different guidelines. So I can, for example, turn all these objects on here. There it snapped. Maybe zoom in a little bit more. There it snapped. See, you have to be take patient. Snapped instantly. I don't really want the wall. Just want the thickness. That's all I want. Very good. Okay. Now, illustration tools don't have dimension tools like AutoCAD or so, but that's not a big deal. We can easily do this ourselves, like hand drafting, and it's super easy in Affinity because we have the architectural tick here. But before we do this, let's do a little bit of prep work. So I will create myself a rectangle 4x4. You might ask yourself what that rectangle is for, and you will see that in a second. Then I make a copy, position it to there. And I don't really know yet because these are going to be my little visual spacers. So I will, from here to here, draw a line. This line will be solid, can be 0.25. Very good. This line I will copy and paste. Maybe easier if I don't show the guideline. Here, copy and paste, making some copies. Copy and paste there. And then when I show the guideline, I'm actually hitting here this shortcut. Then now I can select this and you see, flop, it all snaps to it. Very good. this is going to be the long dimension. So I will make a copy of this cube, put this to the end. Then I will use that simply as a helper. So from there, straight down, holding Shift, click. There's now my longest dimension. This line, if I select it, 141 inches. Let's see actually from there to there. Yeah, 141. So I'm going to write this down. Where's my text tool? Just artistic text is fine. 150, 141 inches, spacebar after, spacebar in front, select all the text, not italic, and let's make this text background white. Then we rotate it, hold Shift, and then onto this, I would like to center it. That's where the center marker is. Yeah, look at that. You see the white background hides the thing behind. Beautiful. This line here, I make a copy and paste, bring this to there because now these shorter lines can be shorter to this dimension. Okay. And I will now from here straight down holding Shift, draw a line. Click somewhere else. Pen again. From there, hold Shift onto that line. Click somewhere else. Snap, hold Shift, snap, click somewhere else. And 1 second. Oh, snapping timeout. Click, hold Shift, click. There. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And these lines we will give the architectural tick. Also here, they definitely need to be bigger. Oh, I have to select this one here too. And there, and there. Hold on 1 second. Looks like I did not do this here and enter. Very good. Yeah, you have to select the correct start and end. There we are. Pretty cool. This one here, I make a copy paste. I know this is kind of like maybe it sounds very strange, but you see how easy now I can style my dimensions, and I totally make sure that everything is clean. I mean, on paper, I would use a ruler, measure these things. And here, these are essentially just rulers, they're spacers. Very good. Then I can click on this one. 24.5, that seems pretty accurate. I can drag this over, 24.5. Center this. Then I will bring this line on top. I could also right click and say arrange, move to front. And then with optional shift and mouse click, I make copies. I quickly sample this 38.5. And then this way, let's say that's 40. Yeah, should be 40. And this will be 38. Cool. To perfect this, I can see that these elements are vertically centered. So you see it's a little bit of mass production. And I think this is the longest video in the semester. I'm sorry, but this is a really good one because we knocked down literally the foundation for everything what we're going to do in future projects. This is my little template. I can move away. And yeah, here is now our dimension. And in the same way, I can also do the dimension on the stuff I have up here. For the final presentation, let me quickly open what I had here. There we are. You see, I adjusted this a little bit. I have the side view or the side dimension, toe kick, and the cabin on top. The numbers didn't really fit in, so I simply drew kind of like with a pencil, click and hold with shift, click and hold with shift. Then you see you have these arrows. With shift you can then also go horizontal or vertical, and then these curves, you can then just change the dash. This doesn't need any arrowheads or architectural ticks, for example. Color here, I make black. There we are. So this is how easy it was to create these details. And also for in terms of readability, I put down only the bare minimum of dimensions, so it's easy to read. So how wide is one cabinet in the pair, one cabinet in the pair, then the opposite side. So another 18 and 25 I removed because you can imagine that. And then, I mean, you can imagine that 18 plus 18 is 36. And then on top, I have again the complete total. And to also indicate where or how the doors, for example, open. Now the question is, do they rotate open or are they kind of like sliding forward? You see, I drew in triangles. Actually, I could have drawn X's, I realize now, and then dash them, and then that creates that type of kind of like a pattern or information. So to bring this to an end, now what you would need then to do is add the missing dimension on the for the height and the width. And here again, if you kind of like go to here, do we dimension, we might want to go into the elevation view layer. So there then because I'm on that layer, I'm snapping also to that layer. I can click on there, click on there. This first line, I need to change the style again, because it always remembers what you previously did, which is good. Can also be annoying. Maybe this we make really thin there. There and there's the other one. Very good. And honestly, we can just group this, copy and paste, and then the top. I thought I could. Snapping was a little bit crazy here right now because of all these other objects I had. So I will position that to there. And then because the scale's proportional, I can hold shift and then bring this to there. copy and paste, hold this and shift, bring this down. You see, copy and paste, flop, there. It's not too complicated. In no time, you have that stuff done. And with this, we reached, I think, the end of this presentation in which I just, ran you through how to rebuild this original layout I created using different programs, 3D modeling, AI rendering, and then the new beautiful Affinity Studio with photo pixel and layout environment to create this really nice presentation with images and technical drawings, and our technical drawings are even to scale. That's it.